Today, I want to get into a lot of hate comments and how it affects BTS members. I also want to get into Suga's music video and why it was getting a backlash for allegedly mocking self-harm. And then I want to get into YouTube taking action. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave. Decide hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumpling, taste-filling mug merch, and let's go. YouTube recently has been taking a lot of action on content, and a lot of the content ended up being K-pop idols that got the brunt of it, as BTS has been affected by a lot of this too. Recently, a Korean announcer, Do Kyung-won, has a channel where it's mostly just his daughter and his daughter napping. This is, if you don't understand Korean culture, what you could consider odd content. But in Korea, it's quite normal to watch people do any normal activity. Things like eating shows where no one talks and it's just eating, shows like watching someone study or get ready for bed, and none of these things are sexual at all. It's just meant to be closer to people and to feel connection when you feel lonely. And I would imagine a channel watching a little girl sleep peacefully would be a channel that could be dedicated to those who love kids, and I think it's very cute. But YouTube has had a problem with child safety and that sort of stuff for a long time. It's a big scandal for them, and a lot of pedos come onto the platform to potentially watch content like this. Obviously, in that case, it's very gross. So it was reported by the Korean announcer guy that the specific channel actually got taken down for violating safety regulations. I think in this case, this would be YouTube taking it a bit too far. There really aren't any specific safety issues here. The child is completely safe behind a camera, and if the specific parent has no problem with this content being shown, it shouldn't be an issue. The issue that maybe YouTube would be concerned over could be the baby would get too famous and thus become a target. However, you have so many kid toy review channels that are super famous, and YouTube seemingly has no problem with any of those channels. There's a certain point where I think the censorship is too much for big channels and bigger companies. The platform will just give a warning. For example, Suga's or Augusti's new music video that just came out received an age restriction and a trigger warning on it. BTS's music has always been more on the sensitive side, especially when they first started. So this warning seems to be a bit weird to put on this one. But a lot of the videos similar to this would just get taken down if it was a smaller artist or company posting it. And I don't think the content should be age restricted. In fact, that actually makes it worse. If the content is age restricted, many armies who are not 18 are then just going to create a fake account and lie about their age. This will ultimately throw the data off. Platforms like YouTube, TikTok, or whatever will sometimes use age to gauge what they will show you on the platform. You can bet that someone who is 5 will have a different experience on the platform than someone who is 45. And by having this mass majority of armies under 18 feeling like they need to make a fake account and lie about their age only hurts the exact thing YouTube was trying to prevent by asking for their age. Also, as I said before, anyone who knows BTS already knows all the more triggering issues that they would sing or talk about. It's always very discouraging when I see the members get hate. Hate from the normal audience is expected, and every single public figure will run into backlash. But when it's weird stuff like this from a big company, it's a bit more hurtful. However, I did want to address some of the hate the members have been getting recently and how weird that is. Since the members have gone solo, there's been a ton more hate going on. I think the reason being is that the members realize they don't have to be this standard of perfection that they probably felt obligated to be when they were touring as BTS. Now that BTS is just on a break and the members have a bit more freedom to express their individuality more, and more of the fans are starting to see that BTS members are human beings with desires, with flaws, with vices, BTS members as a group might try to hide things like smoking or whatever, whereas the members individually will think it's okay to show that, and people are sending a lot of hate over that because the image they had in their own head does not match up to what they thought the members were going to be like, and are a bit not happy about it. So what happened recently, and what was the hate? Well, let me give some backstory. RM recently was on a live stream and many people were writing weird things. One person wrote that RM seemed to have changed, or that everyone in BTS has changed. RM read that out loud and then verbally said, "I'm not going to read the comments anymore." Weverse used to be a semi-safe place where only the fans knew about it, so there really wouldn't be any hate. The only reason I can see the hate happening more now is because the members have quote-unquote changed. They have changed into their true self, and it seems like that messed up with people's fantasies. So a lot of ARMYs were very upset at this comment and the fact that ARM reacted to it, and seemed very upset that these comments were being made. ARMYs began talking about what is the proper etiquette for a live stream and the proper thing to ask and comment about. This obviously was to ensure ARM wouldn't go on the next stream and just ignore all the comments. But keep in mind, people who write these things are fairly unstable as is, and a few trending hashtags and posts by other ARMYs saying this is not okay is not going to change their mind about posting this stuff. They're going to do it anyway. Very soon, Jungkook actually went on a stream and it was filled with comments of people saying that Jungkook needed to cut his hair and told him to speak English, which is quite funny. Why speak English is something that would be asked of a Korean person. Why don't you just learn Korean? That's a possibility. People were saying that there needs to be some sort of guidelines for these types of comments, or that only people who maybe subscribe or pay should comment. Things like that could definitely limit the hate comments. Very few haters are willing to pay to hate, so it could make it easier for the idols and not stress them out too much. Although I do think it's unfair that just for a few bad apples, the entire industry needs to change and the fun of a live stream needs to change, but that's what these haters do. They spoil everything good. Suga recently released his music video Haegeum. It's very cool and iconic. I do react to the music video over on Patreon. If you want to fangirl and check it out with me, I will link that below. We currently have a $1 tier with limited spots. I hope to see you there. It's always a blast there. The music video actually got a lot of hate for mocking self-harm. And I think this is interesting because naturally when a K-pop idol or anyone in K-pop talks about doing anything related to controversial, sensitive issues like self-harm or death, people tend to think it's mocking. This is where people in K-pop simply do not watch the video and just judge on the fact, since it's a guy reviewing or covering these topics in a song or video, that it must be mocking. So that naturally will exist in K-pop. The other side of this is a little more weird. Suga released Haegeum at a weird time. It was around the same time and day that it was discovered that Moonbin had passed. Given the nature of the content and the fact that allegedly no other group or idol were posting that day, the fact that Suga posted anything made him get a lot of really nasty backlash. People online were talking about how chart hungry he is and that he was being selfish for posting that day. However, a lot of this stuff is pre-scheduled, and since all the promo and stuff said that it would be released that day, it really doesn't make any sense for Suga to postpone it. And in fact, posting that day actually does the opposite of helping on the charts, because no one is celebrating the song. They're just mourning. They might listen, but no celebration. The music then becomes a part of the big message. I really don't think he did anything wrong. And it might be controversial for me to say, but there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens every single day. Not as crazy and time-stopping as the Moonbin situation, but a lot of craziness happens every day. You can't expect someone to just not go about their day. While publicly and online, many idols were not posting anything like that, that doesn't mean that that day people were just all at home. All the other idols that were not posting were still likely recording, practicing, and going about their day as usual. Suga and many other idols have a big impact on their label. The impact is a lot of pressure because investors and stuff like that. You simply can't just stop. Even if backstage you're crying and sad and mourning, things can't just freeze and stop. The fact that Suga talks about these issues is enough to show that he cares about it, and it's an issue that affected him deeply. But the issue isn't him posting. This issue is comments like this. Comments calling the idols names that they don't deserve. Moonbin literally died because of this issue, and on the same day, people decided to send the exact same hate that Moonbin likely died over. If you're trying to sit there and call an idol bad person, why don't you be the bigger example and be the bigger person? This is exactly what I am talking about when I say these hate comments make no sense. Because where is the sense? Is the sense in the room with us? Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.